Hey guys, before the video starts, I just wanted to let you all know that I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Let's try and make this dream a reality. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a critical retrospective. At the time I'm recording this, I literally just got back from watching Disney's new animated movie to celebrate their 100th anniversary, Wish. And I thought it was okay, but it didn't really grab me with anything that interesting. And I think there was a lot of missed potential here. But I feel like these great ideas are just kind of stopping short, and I feel like we needed more time to explore what this movie tackles. Now, as many of you may have noticed, this is in fact not a miraculous video. I'm trying to diversify my content a little bit in order to increase the channel's longevity. I hope you understand. Think of this video as like a little snack to hold you over until I release my Lila video. So without further ado, let's get into things. Okay, so the story of this movie is... it feels AI generated. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. The Kingdom of Rosas was built by a guy who grants wishes, and every month or so, I guess, there's this wish ceremony where people give their wishes to Magnifico, the king. But soon, the protagonist Asha finds out that King Magnifico doesn't grant everybody's wishes. And it's something that people were kind of complaining about, and how it doesn't really make sense going into this movie, but I feel like it was actually alright and handled quite well. Asha didn't want the dangerous wishes to be granted like people were insinuating in the official trailer. Just simple, harmless wishes that made people happy. That's all she really wanted, and Magnifico was keeping that from them. But this is where things just kind of stop making sense. Magnifico didn't want to grant anybody's wishes because they were a threat to his power and authority, but I can hardly understand how an old guy playing a banjo is a threat to his throne. It feels like this movie needed a villain to hinge its marketing on because everybody's been wanting a Disney villain for ages, and so they knew that they would just eat up any villain that they had, regardless of how much sense they made as a villain. And the idea that Asha just needs to get everybody's wishes back to everybody is a really weird idea, because how exactly does Asha know that everybody meant well with their wishes? She doesn't, and spoiler warning, but at the end of the movie, Asha just gives everybody's wishes back to everyone. What if Magnifico was actually holding the wish of some guy who wanted to kill everybody he knew and didn't know just for the fun of it? Thanks to Asha, that hypothetical guy has his wish back, and now there's a serial murderer on the loose in the streets of Rosas. And yes, at the start of the movie, when Asha first confronts Magnifico, she understands that protecting all of the wishes does have some merit, because some people are wishing for bad things. Because of the way the ending was structured, everybody's wishes are given back to them, and Asha doesn't know to distinguish between the people who do and don't deserve their wishes back. And that's what I mean when I say that the story feels AI generated, because you could just poke at the story's little holes and you unthread the entire narrative. Yes, Magnifico was being selfish and hoarding the wishes, but Asha's being really reckless. It just feels like that after defeating Magnifico, Asha swings way too far in the other direction, and instead of hoarding everyone's wishes, she gives everybody's wishes. Surely there had to be a better compromise than this. But now I'm just repeating myself, so let's talk about those characters, why don't we? Out of the already pretty small cast of characters, only two are really worth talking about in my opinion, and that's Asha and Magnifico. But let's start with Asha. She's kind of that weird, quirky girl protagonist that I've seen countless times in thousands of different movies, and it's really quite annoying. I feel like Tangled started this stupid trend of quirky main heroines, and I just want it to die. It's high time we get a new personality type for a protagonist. She's not quirky or endearing. She's annoying. But thankfully, this weirdness isn't exactly prevalent in the second half of the movie, as it more focuses on the action side of things, which I appreciate. And there are aspects about her character that I quite like, such as her design, her family, and her voice acting. I can see why she does the things she does, because she just wants her family and the people of Rosas to get what they deserve. And even if she, just like the writers, didn't really fully understand or comprehend the consequences of giving everybody their wishes back, I understand that it came from a good place in her heart. And so I can understand where she's coming from, to an extent. So yeah, there's not that much to say more about Asha, so let's talk about the villain, Magnifico. You know, for a guy marketed as the first classic Disney villain in 13 years, he's a very underwhelming return to this style of character. The only thing I can truly accept about him is his personality, because admittedly he's quite a lot of fun to watch on screen. I'd enjoy seeing him just be unapologetically evil, knowing how dastardly he is and just owning it, but that's not all there is to him. He's got quite a sympathetic backstory that really explains why he's so obsessed with keeping his power and order in Rosas. But this really clashes with him in the second half of the movie, where he just gets possessed by an evil book and then he's just completely evil, like completely evil. There is not a single shred of humanity or sympathy to be found in this guy in the second half of the movie once he becomes possessed by the green book. It feels like we're missing something to his character that would make things make sense. And then at the end of the movie, spoilers by the way, he gets defeated by being trapped in a magical mirror and then just gets stashed away somewhere. And the Queen remembers when he was a good person, and yet we're treated to this weird side of him that we've never really seen or she's seen. He's just treated like a Saturday morning cartoon villain when there's clearly more that was set up for his character. It's almost like the first half and the second half were written by entirely different people. Either commit to him being a simple villain or commit to him being a nuanced one. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too, guys. And the worst part is there isn't really a final climactic battle between Asha and Magnifico. He just kind of thrashes her around with his staff and then she starts singing and then all of Rosa starts singing and then that defeats him. I don't understand it, not at all. And it just feels like a cheap trick to defeat Magnifico because he's just so overpowered. However, I would be remiss to not mention the fact that I do quite like some scenes with Magnifico and his wife, where she tries to talk him down of using evil magic. She tries to see the best in him, and it's really sad to see her struggle with the fact that he's not the man that she once knew him as. But yeah, that's basically it in terms of important and relevant characters. Asha's 6 friends are the dictionary definition of bland and forgettable. I can barely remember any of their names. And they're just based on the 7 dwarfs for no other reason other than the fact that this is Disney's 100th anniversary movie and we need cheap references to better movies, why don't we? So yeah, in general, my favourite character from the movie is Magnifico because even though there is wasted potential about him, it is quite a lot of fun to see a classic villain for once. But other than him, every single character, even Asha, just kind of exists to serve their roles in the movies and not much more than that. Oh boy, this soundtrack is one of the most divisive soundtracks I have ever seen in a movie, especially a Disney movie. Okay, let's start with the good songs. For example, This Wish. I really liked this one and it felt the most classic Disney to me. There's nothing outstandingly amazing about it, but it's serviceable and it's also really enjoyable to listen to from time to time. And it feels like one of the only songs in the movie that doesn't feel horribly stitched together by ChatGPT. The intro song Welcome to Rosas is also pretty good. Really catchy and I quite enjoyed it. And believe it or not guys, but my favourite song in the movie is actually the villain song, This Is the Thanks I Get. And before you question why the heck I would find any value in this song, just remember this. I am the guy who put Queen Banana at number 14 when ranking the Miraculous Ladybug Season 4 episodes. I have a history with unpopular garbage opinions that I can't justify no matter how much I want to. And literally the only thing I can say in its defense is that I think it's catchy, even if the lyrics are the worst. I mean, I let you live here for free and I don't even charge you rent is a terrible line, I understand. But the song is just kind of fun, and that's what I like about it. Okay, but one of the songs that I absolutely adore is the song At All Costs, and it's a duet between Asha and Magnifico towards the start of the movie as they sing about what the wishes mean to them. It's very relaxing but also quite powerful and moving, and my brother didn't actually see this song coming when we watched the movie, and I feel like that really added to his enjoyment of it. It's actually his favourite song in the movie because it just completely blew him away out of nowhere, and I think it perfectly encapsulates the magic of Disney that's been missing for so many years. Okay, they're not all good. For example, I absolutely despise the song about the stars with the stupid animals. Ugh. I mean, a lyric as mind-numbingly stupid as when it comes to the universe we're all shareholders is something I can only imagine AI coming up with. And that's kind of all the standouts. they're either ones I really love or really hate. I can barely remember any of the other songs, and I feel like that's kind of a testament to how forgettable the soundtrack is for the most part. I can barely remember any of the songs aside from a few standouts. It really feels like most, if not all of these songs were just churned out by ChatGPT, and I feel like we deserve better from a movie that's supposed to be celebrating 100 years of Disney, especially in terms of its soundtrack. Come on. Overall, I feel like Wish had a lot of potential to be truly great, but I feel like it only settles for good. Don't get me wrong, I liked this movie, but I didn't really love it because too many little things just slot out of place. Too many little inconsistencies that add up to create a bigger picture that I'm not too fond of. And there are some really good moments, which in my opinion is worth going to the cinema to watch this movie even for those alone. And yet the stakes of this movie don't really feel as impactful and not really worthy of being the 100th anniversary film for Disney Animation Studios. I had a good time, but if you ask me, it's worth going to the cinema for, but I don't think it's worth staying at the cinema for. I'd give Wish a 6 out of 10 or so. I feel like there were more good things to enjoy than bad things to dislike, so I guess that's something. If nothing else, go watch this movie for Magnifico. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I understand that this isn't really my usual content, but diversifying content this early is pretty important, because it really rounds up my options. I mean, if Miraculous ever ends, at least I'll still have things to talk about, and it attracts new people who like different things and grows my audience. My favourite comment from the last video about the Miraculous World Paris special was from Zuza3377, talking about how they thought the special was good, but not great. And that's a perfectly valid opinion to have. Thank you so much for sharing. This has been a critical retrospective, and I'll see you in the next video, I say.